Yo, you guys, this is Blacklist of the Abyss, and you're watching my review for World Trigger episode 14. Yes, that's right, I figured I'd do a World Trigger review because I actually really enjoyed this episode. It started off with Usami explaining triggers and the different types that there are for attackers specifically, and she opened one up and showed how it works and how part of the trigger is for your dominant hand, and then there's the other half of the triggers for your non-dominant hand. Um, and after that, she started talking specifically about triggers for attackers so that Yuma could figure out what exactly he wanted to use. Right, there's the Scorpion, which was actually invented by Jean, as we found out later on. And the advantages to that are that it's lightweight. It could be drawn whenever, from wherever. Um, you can use your Tryon to change the shape of it too. However, it's not very durable at all, so if you ever use it for any kind of defense, then it can break pretty easily. Alright. The Ray Gust, um, instead of being lightweight, it actually has a weight problem. However, it is more durable than the Scorpion. It can't you it's the main thing with the Ray Gust is that it can transform into a blade or shield. All right, so it's mostly used in a defensive manner. It's not attackers usually don't use it because of how heavy it is, and they want to like, quickly defeat the enemy. And it's hard to do that with an incredibly heavy weapon, so they usually don't use it. But I thought it was I thought it was funny that Asami didn't even know he could transform it into a shield. I would have assumed that someone would have spent the time with him that Usami is spending with Yuma to try and so that he can actually figure out what weapon he wanted to choose. I thought someone would have done the same thing for him, but apparently I guess he was just blindly thrown in and told, pick one, and that was it. So apparently, but yeah, he didn't even know that his Ray Gust could transform to a shield, right? But the third one is the Kogetsu, and that's the most popular one because it's the most balanced. It weighs more than the Scorpion, but it doesn't weigh as much as the Ray Gust. It's more durable than the Scorpion, not as durable as the Ray Gust, but it's still in the middle there. It's still pretty balanced. It's pretty strong. It's the best made one that they have. It's the most popular one that they have. And by using another specific trigger, a second trigger, you can extend the range of it too. So it's pretty balanced and it's pretty good. You don't really it essentially has no negatives. The Ray Gust has its weight, the Scorpion has its durability, but the Kogetsu has no weaknesses. So a lot of people choose to use it. And and you guys saw that when Tachikawa was fighting Jean. Okay, he was fighting him. They were clashing swords, and they weren't the Kogetsu wasn't breaking at all. Okay. Meanwhile, the Scorpion broke like that. Okay, so it's pretty good. But it's just funny because Gene kept losing when he was using Kogetsu, so he invented a new type of trigger so that he could win. It was interesting. Um, but still, I'd say Scorpions can't be overlooked, though they can't be underestimated because they are still pretty useful. Being able to like transform it and things like that, and just the speed you're able to get from it, that can't be underestimated. So if I feel like someone who is legitimately skilled with Scorpion is still pretty dangerous despite the lack of durability. So, plus they can probably have like a secondary trigger or like a shield of some sort. So if they ever need to defend, they can just use that instead of the Scorpion. Then they don't have to worry about it breaking. But yeah, that's that. The other part of this episode, it was the fight. Okay, that giant, large-scale fight with Jean and Arashiyama squad against Tachikawa, Kazuma squad, Miwa squad, the snipers. And it was actually pretty good. Like I was impressed by how well Toei animated this, because usually they don't animate like any like anything. There were still moments with the backgrounds, which are stationary and like a picture with characters moving on top of the picture. But like but for Toei anime that is not named Sailor Moon Crystal, the animation was actually pretty freaking good. Again, for Toei, you know, it still could, it definitely could have been better, you know. Today I was rewatching an episode of No Game No Life, and it just boggles my mind how much better the animation is in that than in World Trigger. But that's my fault for watching it right before watching this. Um, but still, for Toei it was good. For Toei it was good. All right. Um, it was just. I mean, there's not much to say about the fight. It was just enjoyable. Jin, Tachikawa, Kazuma, Aikitora, Yosuke, the Fujin. We got our first taste of the Fujin, you know, and it was just really good. It was towards the end that Jin finally decided to get serious because his plan had been figured out by Shiro and Kazuma and them, and they just decided, you know what, this guy, we're not going to get anywhere if we just keep attacking this guy like this. So instead, let's just ignore him and go straight to Tamakoma. And Jin's like, all right, fine, you're really going to do this? Fine, I'll get serious. Then he took out Shiro with Fujin, which, if Fujin, obviously, it allows you to attack someone who is outside your range. All right. It's what did Kazuma call it? The Wind Blade. No, it was pretty self-explanatory if you just watch what it does. But yeah, I was actually expecting them to show Shiro's head getting taken off, but they decided not to show very much of it. Though it's not a big deal. But yeah, that's that. One thing I'm interested in seeing more of is the rivalry between Jin and Tachikawa. I think that's actually pretty interesting. I definitely want to see them fight again and just go all out. So hopefully we get that. And yeah, one question I do have though is what's up with Tachikawa's eyes? Like, have you seen them? It's like he's got a freaking spider web over each one. It's weird, what is it, like melon bread? Whatever, like his eyes look like melon bread, or whatever that bread, that Japanese bread that anime characters always eat is. Right? His eyes look like that. All right, like it's so weird. Like, does this guy have like some type of like Rinnegan ability or something? Like, is he going to start using Genjutsu and like using like Almighty Push and stuff? Like, yeah, like, like what is this guy going to do? But maybe it's a side effect. I don't know. Whatever. Or maybe they just wanted him to look unique. I don't know. Whatever. But I just thought I thought it's interesting that his eyes look like that, because no one's eyes look like that. But yeah, that's really it for this episode. Pretty simple. Only really two parts to it: the stuff with the triggers and then the fights. And overall, I really did enjoy it. So I'll give it an 8.5 out of 10. I thought it was pretty good. But yeah, that's that, you guys. Episode gets an 8.5 out of 10. Rate, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.